Good morning. Welcome to the, what is it, January 29th? No, today's January 30th. Anyway, calling this meeting of public safety to order. Members will record their attendance on the electronic voting board. All right, the clerk will close the roll. Quorum is present. All right, so here's what we're going to do today, just to give you guys the order of march. We're going to first get a subcommittee report from Public Safety 2 subcommittee. Then we're going to take bills from Public Safety, from the Firearms subcommittee that need to go to appropriations. We'll take those up. There's a chance we don't get through the whole docket this morning, which is fine. We can carry some stuff. Anything doesn't get done, we can move over to next week. But the things that have to go to appropriations, we want to make sure we get through today and get them to the appropriators as soon as possible so they can work on that. So we'll do Public Safety 1, or Public Safety 2, Firearms appropriations. Then we'll go to the bill that's before us, assuming the patron shows up. And then we'll come back and we'll do the contested firearms bills that don't have to go to appropriations. I think we should still be able to get all that done before 9. But we do have other committees that start at 9. So if we run out of time, anything that's incomplete, we'll just go to the next week. And again, we have time before crossover to do that. All right, so with that, we're going to start with our subcommittee, Public Safety Subcommittee 2 subcommittee report with Chair Rasool, Delegate Rasool.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. What we'll do is we'll take an uncontested block. And if anybody'd like to pull some out.
Delegate Rasool, I'm sorry, one real quick, before you start again, I just want to be, the other thing I want to make clear for everybody who here and watching online, we had 2 very lengthy subcommittee meetings this week. Yesterday, heard a lot of testimony from members of the public. These bills have all really had a very thorough hearing. So we're not going to be taking any new testimony from the public on bills that were heard in subcommittee yesterday. Committee members will feel free to chime in, and we'll give everybody an opportunity on the committee, particularly some of you that weren't on the subcommittee, to be heard, or if you were on the subcommittee but didn't get everything said you needed to say, we'll give you guys a chance to talk. But if you're signed up to testify on a bill that was already heard, or if you're online to testify on a bill that was already heard yesterday, we will not be taking public testimony on these bills again today. All right, thank you, Delegate Rasool. I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So for the full contested block, full uncontested block, there are a series of substitutes and amendments that the committee chose to put on a variety of bills. I would so move the amendments and substitutes on block.
All right, and those amendments and substitutes are available to the members at your seat, and they're online. There's been a motion to adopt the amendments and substitutes, properly seconded. As many as favor that motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, the bills as amended are before us.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. House Bill 472 by Delegate Feggins establishes a resiliency hub, a pilot project. It directs Department of Emergency Management to establish this 2-year resiliency hub. Subcommittee recommended reporting with a substitute and referring to appropriation 7-0. House Bill 927 by Delegate Tata is a human trafficking identification bill, creates a process to use digital identification and reporting platforms for this. The subcommittee recommended reporting and referring to appropriations 7-0. House Bill 1041 by Delegate Carr is a familiar bill that talks about functional literacy programs for inmates, requires a superintendent employed by DOC to implement those. The subcommittee recommended reporting with substitute and referring to appropriations. House Bill 1280 by Delegate Cole is State Correctional Facilities program that expands and assigns that DOC shall have these educational programs upon reentry. The subcommittee recommended reporting and referring to appropriations 7-0. House Bill 34 by Delegate Cole establishes the Sexual Offense Prevention and Response Program within the Department of Military Affairs. This bill establishes that the program officer would be able to perform a series with advocates to ensure that they've got some good representation. The subcommittee recommended reporting with amendment 7-0. Delegate Carlson's bill, HB 126, requires that the state board and local regional jails establish a standard for counsel to visit inmates. Subcommittee recommended reporting 7-0. House Bill 296 by Delegate Siebold establishes state correction visitation policies, in particular with regards to dress code. The subcommittee recommended reporting 7-0. Delegate Cousins, House Bill 857, provided that there's a home and electronic incarceration program for pregnant persons or those experiencing postpartum. The subcommittee recommended reporting with substitute 7-0. House Bill 861 is a bill that requires the warden or other official in charge of a state correctional facility to ensure that there are proper protocols around how we treat pregnant and postpartum inmates. The subcommittee recommended reporting with substitute 7-0, and I so move them on block, Mr. Chair.
Is there a second? All right, it's been moved and properly seconded that the bills be either reported and referred to appropriations, reported, or reported with amendments. We can do, clerk tells me we can do that all in one block. Delegate Will.
Mr. Chairman, I have I think a request. I would ask that we pull, House Bill 34, I believe it was. Could we pull that out of the block, please?
Yeah, all right, so HB 34 will come out of the block, and we'll vote on that momentarily separately. Is there any other member that wishes to have a bill pulled from the block? Madam Clerk, can you read to us out just real quick? I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman, I would ask that HB 126 and HB 1280 also be pulled from the block, please.
HB 126 and HB 1280 out of the block. All right, so the remaining bills that are in the block, anybody else? Okay, so the remaining bills in the block, 472 from Delegate Fagans, 927 from Delegate Tata, 1041 from Delegate Carr, and 1280 is coming out of the block, 34 is coming out of the block, 126, is that still in the block? No, that's out of the block. All right, 296 in the block. HB 857 from Delegate Cousins, HB 861 from Delegate Cousins are in the block. All right, does everybody understand where we are? Madam Clerk, you got the same list as I do? Yeah. All right, the clerk will open the roll. Members will cast their votes. All right, the clerk will close the roll. Those bills report 19-0. All right, and let's go back then to House Bill 1280.
I moved House Bill 1280, Mr. Chairman.
It's moved and seconded that House Bill 1280.
Report and refer to appropriations.
Report and refer to appropriations. Yep, I got you.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. The clerk's got to catch up with us here.
No, the block didn't go through. So,
Hold on, the committee will be at ease. Roll.
it's 296.
All right, so the block.
It's 296, 472, 857, 861, 927, and 1041.
That's right. So give us just a second.
And see, it's there. It's weird.
Sounds like something's coming.
I would just say maybe we have to do them individually. I don't know. Randy, what print it off? What print it off? The block?
I think it's what you're doing.
All right. We think it's all going to be fine.
I'm positive it is.
It's going to be fine. All right, clerk's got a lot of confidence. It's going to be fine. All right, so then we need to take a look at House Bill 1280 next on my list.
The motion has been to report and refer to appropriation.
All right, it's been moved and properly seconded. HB 1280, report and refer to appropriation. No, it's there. The clerk's going to open the roll. The clerk will close the roll. That bill reports by a vote of 16-3. All right, next I've got House Bill 34.
Subcommittee recommended reporting with amendment 7-0, and I so move.
It's been moved and seconded that House Bill 34 report with amendments. The clerk will open the roll. The clerk will close the roll. That bill reports by a vote of 14-5. House Bill 126.
Mr. Chair, we have a committee amendment. I would ask if the council would report the committee amendment for House.
I think we already adopted it when we did the block.
We have a new committee
A
amendment.
new committee amendment?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
All right, clerk will report, the council will report an amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This amendment is on line 83 after restricted, insert and. On line 86, after council, we strike the remainder of line 86, all of 87, and through complaints on line 88. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So my question would be, is that amendment in conflict with the previous amendment that we adopted, or is it an addition to?
Mr. Chair, for House Bill 126, we did not have a subcommittee amendment, so this would be the first
Got it.
amendment to it.
Understood. All right, so we didn't, there's nothing to reconsider or anything like that?
No,
All
I
right,
believe it's-
so get a motion on the amendment as reported by by council?
I would move the amendment.
It's been moved and properly seconded. We adopt the amendment. As many as favor of that motion will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, the bill as amended is now before us.
Mr. Chair, I would move House Bill 126 as amended.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded that we adopt House Bill, we report House Bill 126 as amended. The clerk will open the roll. All right, the clerk will close the roll. That bill advances by a vote of 15-4. House Bill 296
That was in the block.
was in the block.
I believe, Mr. Chair, we may be on to House Bill 793.
790, okay, so
We finished with the block.
finished with the block. There were only two that were taken out.
We're not,
There were 3 taken out and they've been voted on.
All three have been voted on. All right, thank you. All right, so now we're on to contested bills going to appropriations from your subcommittee. Go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Chair, House Bill 793, we have a committee amendment that will ask council that is clarifying in nature to report that has been requested by the patron.
All right, the council, will you go ahead and read out the line amendment for us?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On line 11, after the word "that," we are inserting language tax map parcel 53-1B, being approximately 54.3 acres of. On line 11, inserting a comma after the word center. On line 11, after the word corrections, we're inserting another comma. On line 13, after the words sale of, we are striking the remainder of line 13 and through the word center on line 14, and we are inserting the language tax map parcel 53-1B. And on line 18, after the words all of, we are inserting the words tax map. On line 19, after the word of, we are striking the words the Brunswick Correctional Center, and we are inserting the words tax map parcel 53-1B. And on line 19, after access, we are inserting tax map. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, it sounds like these are technical amendments to more particularly identify the property that's being sold. Is that correct?
Further,
Yes, sir. At the committee meeting, we found out, we had a discussion with the DOC, and they were thinking it was the entire 700 acres of the property, and it is only the 54.33 that's in tax map 53-1A.
1B?
1B, that is correct. And we also found out that the physical impact was considering the entire 700, so they're doing the physical impact, which will take that out as well.
Got it. All right, everybody understand the amendment? Is there a motion on the amendment? It's been moved and second. We adopt the line amendments as reported by council. As many as favor of that motion will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the amendment is before us. The bill as amended is before us.
Mr. Chair, I would move that we report and refer as amended House Bill 793 to appropriations.
All right, it's been moved and properly seconded that House Bill 793 be reported and referred to appropriations. The clerk will open the roll. Members will cast their votes. The clerk will close the roll. Bill reports 19-0.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee.
Thank you, Delegate Waxman. Mr. Chair, Delegate Rasul.
House Bill 1096 requires the Department of State Police to establish a substantial risk order reporting system for tracking and reporting substantial risk orders by locality. The subcommittee recommended reporting with amendment and referring to appropriations 5-2, and I so move.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that House Bill 173 be reported and referred to appropriations. The clerk,
1096.
I'm sorry, 1096. Clerk will open the roll. Clerk will close the roll. That bill reports by a vote of 14-5. Delegate Rasul.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There's a couple bills that we needed more time to work on the language. So House Bill HB 173, I would move to pass by for the day.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that House Bill 173 go by for the day. As many as favor of that motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, House Bill 173 is by for the day.
Mr. Chair, House Bill 553 provides the Department of Corrections shall take reasonable steps to provide offenders with limited English proficiency meaningful access to department services. The subcommittee recommended reporting with amendments 6-1, and I so move.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that House Bill 553 report as amended. The clerk will open the roll. Members will cast their votes. The clerk will close the roll. That bill reports by a vote of 15-4.
I believe lastly, Mr. Chairman, same thing with House Bill 1246. To continue working on language, how we would take it by for the day is my motion.
There's a motion to take by House Bill 1246 for the day, properly seconded. Somebody in favor of that motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, that bill is by for the day. All right, Delegate Clark, we're going to have you go through, yeah. What's that? Just 1 second. I got a plan. All right, Delegate Clark, we're going to go through yours that need to go to appropriations, and then we'll come back to Delegate Helmer's bill. All right, so Delegate Clark, you've got, well, we have, I'm sorry, let me back up for 1 second. I think it's a voice vote. House Bill 901 from Delegate Sullivan has, the Speaker sent down a letter and said that bill actually belongs in the Courts Committee. So is there a motion to refer House Bill 901 to the Committee on Courts? So moved. It's been moved and seconded that House Bill 901 be referred to the Committee on Courts of Justice. As many as favor of that motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, 901 is off to the Courts Committee. Delegate Clark, you have one bill that's in the uncontested block that needs to, there's no fiscal impact, but it's uncontested. Do you want to go ahead and do House Bill 1300 for us?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. HB 1300 by Delegate Cornett is provides that the Department of the State Police may allow the immediate survivor of any law enforcement officer formerly employed by the department who has at least 10 years of service with the department and who has died while receiving long-term disability payments to purchase his service handgun with the approval of the superintendent of the state police at a price of $1. The subcommittee recommends reporting on 10-0, and I would so move.
Second.
All right, it's moved and seconded that House Bill 1300 report. Any members of the committee wish to be heard on this bill? It's about to pass unanimously. Good. The clerk will open the roll. Clerk will close the roll. That bill reports 19-0. All right, you've got 1, 2, 3 that need to go to appropriations. So we'll do those 3, and then we'll pause and hear the bill that hasn't been heard yet, and then we'll come back to your subcommittee report.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chair, HB 19 by Delegate McClure, as the definition of a family or household member, as such definition relates to juvenile domestic relations district court, a person's intimate partner defined in the bill as an individual who, within the previous 12 months, who was in a romantic, dating, or sexual relationship with the person as determined by the length, nature, frequency, and type of interaction between the individual involved in the relationship. The subcommittee recommends reporting and referring to appropriations on a vote of 7-3, and I would so move.
All right. It's moved and seconded. This bill will report and refer to appropriations by a vote of 7-3. I don't see anybody on my request to speak list. With that, the clerk will open the roll. Members can cast their votes. Clerk will close the roll. That bill reports 14-5. Delegate Clark.
Yes, Mr. Chair, HB 702 by Delegate Josh Cole directs the Department of the State Police to establish the Virginia Firearm Give Back Program and to develop policies for the establishment of uniform standards for the implementation of the program among local law enforcement agencies. The subcommittee recommends reporting with the substitute and referring to appropriations on a vote of 7-3, and I would so move.
All right, is there a motion on the substitute?
Second. Oh, so moved.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. We adopt the subcommittee substitute. As many as favor that motion will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. All right, so the substitute's now before us. There's a motion on the bill with substitute. Somebody say move to report.
Move to report.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that the bill report with substitute. Any further conversation from the subcommittee, from the committee? Seeing none, the clerk will open the roll. We'll report with substitute.
Yeah.
The clerk will close the roll. That bill reports 14-5. Next, Delegate Clark.
Yes, Mr. Chair, HB 1359 by Delegate Hope requires any person selling a firearm to obtain verification from the Department of State Police that the prospective purchaser is not prohibited under state or federal law or a criminal history record check from possessing a firearm. This bill requires any person purchasing a firearm from a firearm dealer to present a valid firearm purchaser license issued by the Department of the State Police that allows the holder to purchase a firearm.
Is there a substitute?
Yes, the subcommittee recommends reporting with the substitute and referring to appropriations on a vote of 63.
Okay, can I get a motion? It's been moved and seconded. We adopt the subcommittee substitute. As many as favor that motion will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, and then Delegate Clark, your motion is
And I would so move.
to report with substitute, properly seconded by Delegate McClure. Any further conversation? All right. Report and refer to appropriations with substitute.
Yes.
Okay, that was the motion. All right, thank you. And it's been seconded. All right. Any further discussion? Seeing none, the clerk will open the roll. The clerk will close the roll. That bill reports by a vote of 13-6. All right, Delegate Clark, thank you for that. Let's take a break on the subcommittee reports, and we'll hear from Delegate Helmer on House Bill 24. What is it?
286.
286. I'm just making up numbers.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, fellow members of the committee. In front of you is House Bill 286. It is the National Guard Integrity and Democracy Protection Act. 286 builds on bipartisan work that we started last year that looks at National Guard deployments in the context of what is happening across the whole of government and makes sure that we have put in place the proper checks and balances to involve this body, which appropriates a percentage of the funding for our National Guard, confirms the leader of the National Guard, the TAG, and deeply cares about deployments of our service members to ensure that they are not deployed in Virginia against the will of our governor, to make sure that their deployments outside of Virginia are lawful, to make sure that they are never used to interfere in a democratic election. I never thought we'd be in the position where this would be the subject of discussion, but governors on a bipartisan basis have expressed alarm and concern about the deployments of National Guard in California and Illinois, DC, and we have seen firsthand what has happened with federal overreach in Minnesota over the last few weeks, to great sadness for many of us. This bill also does a significant amount of cleanup. One of the things that has been clear in terms of federal law is that there are gaps in things like the Insurrection Act that we never thought we'd have to address. Some of those gaps exist at the state level too, and so this ensures that this body has the opportunity to review the ways in which our National Guard is employed. I would love to consider this on a bipartisan basis. I think it has been bipartisan work. I think it's critical. And with that, I know we have a number of folks to testify, but I'm sure I'm at the leisure of the committee to ask questions.
Any questions from members of the committee for Delegate Helmer? Delegate Hamilton?
Yes, question for the patron, please.
Yeah.
I understand that the National Guard receives about 95% of its funding from the federal government, so I'm just curious what the impacts would be funding-wise for them if this should pass.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd answer the delegate that this does not address the funding for the National Guard, and it has moved on. I know the delegate has a similar proposal that it's out there that would probably, one of the reasons we designed this is that was the proposal we worked on a bipartisan basis last year and might have some significant impacts on funding. This follows precedent established by the Supreme Court in terms of the ability to discuss the legality of National Guard deployments. It does not violate federal law. It does not violate the primacy of the U.S. Constitution. It simply allows us to do a few things. One is to ask whether or not a deployment is legal and what legal authority it is done under. It follows precedent that we've just seen confirmed by the Supreme Court in Illinois in denying the use of state resources in one instance when the federal government seeks to deploy the National Guard over the objections of our own governor, and does not in any way interfere with current precedent, constitutional or by the Supreme Court, while at the same time providing some political guardrails and some evaluation under the precedent which things are being done. As anybody who understands Title 10 knows, that the federal government controls most of the funding during a federal, or all of the funding during a federal deployment of the National Guard. What this does is leverages the tools that we have to make sure there are guardrails in place. But at the end of the day, the federal government can use that federal funding. So this follows current precedent that's been established in Illinois. It follows previous Supreme Court precedent going back to the 80s because it allows us to ask the questions. We still can't interfere with federal funding of the National Guard.
Thank you.
Thank you. One more question, if you don't mind.
Delegate Hamilton.
I'm curious if there are any other states that have something like this in place.
Mr. Chair, I'd answer the delegate that states have taken executive action that recently, right, in Illinois, that follows some of the guidelines that are listed out there, and there are a couple of other states, and I don't have them right here, that have either moved in this direction or have laws on the books that mimic that take a similar approach. And obviously, just given what's going on federally, there are states with leadership on both from either major political party that are considering how do you think about this on a go-forward basis.
Right. I've got one question myself, and then I'll go over to Delegate Wilt. We've had a lot of conversation in the last several months about military members' sort of duty not to follow illegal orders, and there's been some concern that how are we going to put soldiers and officers in a position to know whether something's legal or not? Your bill addresses this question, right, and takes sort of that decision-making, it gives us a way to find out. Can you talk about that aspect of the bill just a little bit?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, Mr. Chair, what this bill does is it does remove, I know there has been a lot of discussion around one's duty to disobey an illegal order. That is a pretty heavy burden to place on a 19-year-old who is taking an oath to uphold the Constitution and also to follow the lawful orders of those appointed over them. This removes that obligation. It doesn't take away the individual obligation to uphold the oath that you swore, but it does put us in the position of having the Attorney General, as opposed to an individual soldier, look at the soldier, I'm saying soldier because I'm an old Army guy, but service member, whatever service they're in. No offense to Delegate Fagans over there. It does take them out of the position of having at least feeling that we have their backs and answering the question about whether or not this is legal, and puts the tag and everybody else in the role of saying, okay, well, we view this as legal. You've got an Attorney General that says that, like, you should, despite whatever you're hearing around you, this seems to be okay, or not.
Or not, right. Gives them some cover. Thank you. Delegate Will.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Question for the patron.
Delegate Will.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So in your legislation, you talk about the counter-drug program. And so could you put that in layman's terms as to exactly, what are you trying to do there or not do? So that just kind of, put it in simpler terms. Tell exactly what you're attempting to do.
Delegate Helmer.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So the discussion of the counter-drug program in there builds on existing code. So we have the ability to do counter-narcotics as part of a task force, and we have these various interstate agreements like we do over many issues. This is one of them. What this does is codify what is done through regulation, right? Like, one of the things we found out recently is there's some things they want to make sure that our National Guard is in a support role when it comes to counter-narcotics and is not doing direct law enforcement, which is not the intent and exists in regulations today, but we just want to make sure that we're not placing our young women and men who have stood up to serve the Commonwealth in positions that they're not trained for and not intended to be used for. And current regulation actually reflects that. This just codifies that, so there can't be a rapid change.
All right. Thank you, Delegate Helmer. All right. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor of the bill? Please come forward. I'm not going to put you all on a clock, but just please be mindful of the hour and that we've got to get out of here before 9. And if you've heard the person before you says what you were about to say, it's perfectly acceptable to associate yourself with their comments and not repeat them. All right, go ahead. Let's go.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Rena Hicks, and I'm here in a personal capacity as a spouse of a Virginia National Guard service member. Go Army. Before we met, my husband deployed to Iraq, and since we've been together, our family has served right alongside him through an 11-month deployment to Qatar in 2016, COVID response here in the Commonwealth for 4 months in 2020, 6 weeks active duty during the insurrection at our nation's capital in 2021, Africa for 10 months in 2022, and we are now preparing for the possibility of yet another deployment later this year. This is, of course, in addition to monthly trainings. He actually has back-to-back weekends because of the snow canceled training last weekend. So session being right now is really fun. And 3 to 4 weeks of ATs in the summer. National Guard families live in constant state of uncertainty. We hold down jobs, raise kids, manage households, and carry the emotional weight of repeated separations for what some consider to be part-time. When deployments happen for true emergencies or national defense, we step up without hesitation. But our Guard members should never be used as political pawns. They should not be sent haphazardly to wherever the news headline is that day by the will of a very reactive federal administration or an overzealous governor. This bill is about respect for the service members who wear the uniform and respect for families who serve beside them. It ensures transparency, legislative involvement, and clear limits so that deployments are based on real need and not politics. Supporting our troops also means protecting them from misuse. And as a Guard spouse, I'm asking you to support this bill to make sure that our service members are deployed responsibly, lawfully, and with the care and respect they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you. Next. You guys can feel free to move a little bit closer. Go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. I'm actually not, Alexis Bolsfire, Virginia Department of Military Affairs. I'm not here in opposition or support of the bill, but if it's okay with you, Mr. Chair, I'd like to answer the funding question that the Delegate Hamilton had asked earlier. So I'd like to draw your attention to line 143 of the bill, prohibiting use of state-owned facilities and state funding should a mobilization be found illegal by the OAG or governor. The Virginia National Guard, as the delegate mentioned, is 96% federally funded, which is about $450 million, $24 million from the state. A great deal of that funding is for facilities like armories and state employees that are federally reimbursed. The Department of Military Affairs is made up of about 80% federally reimbursed state employees, and there are 263 state facilities within the Commonwealth. Of the 263, 230 fall under cooperative agreements. These contracts require joint use. 116 are 100% federally paid and state-owned, 114 are 50-50 cost share, and 33 are 100% state-owned and funded. All readiness centers in Virginia are 50-50 cost share. This bill, if passed, would constitute a breach of contract of those cooperative agreements. This has been confirmed through our federal program manager for facilities. Prohibiting the use of state facilities and state-owned funding does not stop mobilizations, and we know that's not the point of the bill. The Virginia National Guard would mobilize outside of the state. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I'll get back to council. I've always been under the impression, since I got through law school, that a contract that requires you to perform an illegal act is void against public policy and wouldn't be a breach, but we can have that conversation offline. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members. Chris Kaiser, ACLU of Virginia. We're here in support of the bill. The recent deployments of the National Guard in several jurisdictions across the country against those states' will have had the effect of intimidating the public from exercising First Amendment rights, and more generally just normalizing the idea of having an armed military national police force on civilian streets. That should disturb all of us. As the delegate said, the state can't control 100% of what happens in federal authority deployments, but we can, to the maximum extent possible, assert the state's sovereign rights within our borders and draw out checks and balances to make sure that our own executive and legislative branches are responding to these situations thoughtfully. So like Delegate Helmer said, wish this weren't necessary, but it clearly is. Thank you for bringing the bill.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Tram Nguyen with New Virginia Majority. I will be very, very brief. I want to thank Delegate Helmer for working so diligently over the last several months on this legislation. We strongly support it. As you've heard in the first testimony, National Guard members and their families make many, many sacrifices, and this bill provides both transparency and accountability to make sure that Virginia's National Guards are not misused in any way. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, anyone in the audience wishing to speak in opposition to the bill? All right, we've got some folks online. For House Bill 826, we have Margaret Seymour.
Chair, members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to speak. As the representative mentioned, I'm Dr. Margaret Seymour. I'm a mother here in Virginia. I'm a former professor of Civ-Mil Relations, and I'm a Marine Corps veteran, and I'm speaking today in strong support of House Bill 286. Those of us that have worn the uniform, who have been married to someone who wears the uniform, I am both, understand something very clearly. The military, and in this instance, the National Guard, is still one of the most trusted institutions in the Commonwealth. And that trust exists because the Guard serves the people and not political power. It's because its use has always been grounded in constitutional authority and civilian oversight. House Bill 286 exists to protect that trust. The bill strengthens checks and balances without slowing emergency response. These notification requirements are not a barrier, it's a safeguard. As Raina mentioned, extended deployments affect readiness, affect families, affect jobs and communities, and they deserve democratic oversight. House Bill 286 also brings much needed transparency, as the last speaker mentioned. This annual report ensures that the General Assembly and the public gain a clear picture of how the Guard is being used. And as a veteran, I can tell you that transparency strengthens the force, it does not weaken it. Most urgently, however, the bill draws a bright line around our democratic process. This bill explicitly prohibits the use of National Guard to intimidate, coerce, or deter Virginians from voting. This should never be ambiguous. Guard members swear an oath to the Constitution. Like all military members, they serve to protect the people, not police them, not intimidate them. They should never be placed in a situation that risks politicizing their service and eroding our public trust. Finally, the bill clarifies procedures when Guard members are mobilized under federal authority, whether inside or outside the Commonwealth. Clear rules protect civilians, service members, their families, and the chain of command alike. This moment matters. Across the country, public confidence in institutions is fragile. The fastest way to damage the Guard is to leave its use unclear, unchecked, or open to political misuse. The surest way to safeguard it is to pass House Bill 286. This bill is pro-Guard, pro-democracy, and pro-Virginia, and I urge you to support it. Thank you.
Thank you. And we've got Ashley Elstead.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Ashley Elstad. I'm the advocacy manager at Homke Center. We provide direct services and organize Asian immigrants across Virginia. We thank the delegate for carrying this bill. We support this bill because it has become increasingly clear that we need to come together to protect all who call Virginia home and those who come and protect Virginians as well. And we need to stop this overreach. The weaponization of the National Guard has left many people feeling uncertain about the future of our country and its democracy. So please, we urge you to support this bill. Thank you.
There we go. There's nobody else online. All right, that concludes the testimony. Delegate Figgins, did you want to be recognized?
Yes, Chair. Speaking to the bill at the appropriate time.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I first want to say thank you to Delegate Helmer for bringing forth this bill. Deployments, and also want to also state as the airman on this panel as well, just want to make sure that the Air Force is properly recognized. Regards to that, deployments are not a joke. It doesn't matter if you're deploying to Afghanistan or Alaska or Alabama. They're disruptive. They're important parts of our military structure. And this bill brings forth important guardrails. We've seen what's happening across the country. We've also seen the importance of recognizing our National Guard. We've seen in Minnesota when the National Guard does deploy in support of their state, they're wearing vests, safety vests, because they're part of our community. They're our neighbors, and when a deployment lasts from 3 weeks or 3 months, it's disruptive. And we need to make sure that when they do deploy, especially within our states, that is for the proper reason, and adding these guardrails and these checks are extremely important for our Virginia National Guard to make sure our soldiers and airmen are properly deploying within our country.
Thank you, Delegate Figgins. Delegate Helmer, I'll give you the last word.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Appreciate the words we heard about the question on funding. I just wanted to, one, say I'm committed to continuing to work on making, as we go through this legislative process on this, but two, just wanted to set the context of what we're talking about here. We're saying that if National Guard service members, Virginia women and men and women, are deployed to Virginia against Virginians in a mobilization that our governor or our attorney general says is illegal or unwanted. In that instance, that one instance, we are not going to support what is essentially at that point an invasion with our facilities. It's a pretty limited and extraordinary circumstance in which we're saying this wouldn't happen. And in all other circumstances, we're going to do what we have always done. I think all of us here, either side of the aisle, can agree that for the illegal use, we don't want our National Guard to be. We want that to be impeded. I don't want any young Virginia service member to be put into that situation. And so I think the unthinkable is increasingly thinkable. And we just want to make sure that we've dealt with that. With that said, really remain committed to working on making sure we have that. I think it's narrowly carved, and I think we can get to legislative language, but I think it doesn't matter which side of the aisle we're on. We should agree that that circumstance is one in which we should not be using Virginia taxpayer money to subsidize.
All right. Thank you, Delegate Helmer. All right. Anybody have a motion on this bill?
Move the report.
It's been moved and seconded that the bill report. The clerk will open the roll. Delegate Helmer, you vote yes. I assume.
I vote yes, yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right. Delegate Helmer will be reported as voting yes. The bill reports by a vote of 14-5. All right, Delegate Clark, we've got about 15 minutes left. Let's see how many of these bills we can get through on your contested docket. And folks, just be able to, anybody who wants to comment on these bills, feel free. We can take them by for the week, and it doesn't harm the bills. These bills are out of what we call the ice box, and so we've got approval from the Appropriations Committee to report these directly to the floor, so they don't need to go for a second step. So I don't mean to rush anybody along, but we do need to stop here so that folks can get to other committees. All right, Delegate Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First in the contested doc is HB 21 by Delegate Helmer. It creates the standards of responsible conduct for firearm industry members and requires such members to establish and implement reasonable control regarding the manufacture, sale, distribution, use, and marketing of the firearm industry members' firearm-related products as those terms are defined in the bill. The subcommittee recommends reporting with the substitute on a vote of 7-3.
I'm sorry, Delegate Clark. Can we move the remaining amendments and substitutes in block?
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt the remaining amendments and substitutes in block. As many as favor of that motion will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, then I have to remember to keep saying that. All right, and so Delegate Clark, you were saying?
Yes, and this bill reported 7-3, and I was so moved.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that, what number are we on?
21.
House Bill 21, report with substitute. Any members of the committee wish to be heard on this bill? All right, seeing none, the clerk will open the roll. Clerk will close the roll. Those bills report by a vote of 13-6.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. HB 40 by Chair Simon creates a Class 5 felony for any person who knowingly manufactures or assembles, causes to be manufactured or assembled, imports, purchases, sells, offer for sales, transfer, or possess any firearm that, after removal of all parts other than a major component as defined in the bill, is not detectable as a firearm when subjected to inspection by the types of detection devices, including X-ray machines commonly used at airports, government buildings, schools, correctional facilities, and other locations for security screening. This bill was recommended to report 7-3, and I would so move.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that House Bill 40 report. Anybody wish to be heard on this bill? Seeing none, the clerk will open the roll. The clerk will close the roll. This bill reports by a vote of 12. Oh, I'll vote by 13-6. I'll make sure I get my vote recorded before it goes up. Forgot to vote for my own bill. All right, House Bill 93.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. HB 93 by Delegate Bennett Parker provides that a person who is prohibited from possessing a firearm because the person is subjected to a protective order or has been convicted of an assault and battery of a family or household member may transfer a firearm owned by the prohibited person to any person who is not otherwise prohibited by law from possessing such firearm, provided that the person who is not provided that the person who is not otherwise prohibited by law from possessing such firearm is 21 years age of older and does not reside with the person who is subjected to the protective order. The subcommittee recommends reporting 7-3, and I would so move.
Second.
It's moved and seconded the House Bill 93 report. Anybody wish to be heard on this bill? All right, again, we had a long hearing on this yesterday. The clerk will open the roll. Clerk will close the roll. This bill reports 13-6.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. HB 110 by Delegate Lawford provides that no person shall leave, place, or store a handgun in an unattended motor vehicle as defined in the bill when such handgun is visible to any person who is outside such attended motor vehicle. The bill provides that any person violating such prohibition is subject to a civil penalty of no more than $500 and that such unattended motor vehicle may be subject to removal for safekeeping. The subcommittee recommends reporting on a vote of 7-3, and I will so move.
Second.
All right, it's moved and seconded that House Bill 110 report. Any further conversation? Seeing none, the clerk will open the roll. Clerk will close the roll. This bill reports on a vote of 13-6.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Next up is HB 217. Delegate Helmer creates a Class 1 misdemeanor for any person who imports, sells, manufactures, purchases, or transfer an assault firearm as the term is defined in the bill with some exceptions and prohibits a person who has been convicted of such violation from purchasing, possessing, or transporting a firearm for a period of 3 years from the date of the conviction. The subcommittee recommends reporting on a vote of 7-3, and I will so move.
Second. All right, it's been moved and seconded that we report with substitute. Anybody wish to be heard on this bill? All right, seeing none, the clerk will open the roll. Clerk will close the roll. This bill reports on a vote of 12-6.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Next up is HB 229 by Delegate Hernandez. Makes it a Class 1 misdemeanor for any person to knowingly and intentionally possess in the building of any hospital that provides mental health services or developmental services in the Commonwealth, including an emergency department or other facility rendering emergency medical care. Flip the page. The subcommittee recommends reporting on a vote of 7-3, and I will so move.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that this bill report, House Bill 229 report as amended. Anybody wish again to have any further conversation about this bill? Seeing none, the clerk will open the roll. Members will cast their votes. Clerk will close the roll. This bill reports on a vote of 12-6.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Next is HB 626 by Delegate Carlson. Limits the exemption for the prohibition on carrying of any firearm or explosive material within any building owned or leased by the Commonwealth or agency thereof, or any office where employees of the Commonwealth or any agency thereof are regularly present for the purpose of performing their official duties that currently applies to any property owned or operated by a public institution of higher education to instead apply to any individual within a building owned or operated by a public institution of higher education who possesses a weapon as part of such public institution or higher education curriculum or activities, or as part of any organization authorized by such public institution or higher education to conduct its program or activities within such building, as such uses are approved through the law enforcement or public safety unit of such institution. The subcommittee recommends reporting on a vote of 7-3, and I would so move.
Second.
All right, it's moved and properly seconded that House Bill 626 report. Anybody wish to be heard on this bill? Seeing none, the clerk will open the roll. Clerk will close the roll. This bill reports on a vote of 12-6. Delegate Clark.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Next is HB 871 by Delegate Downey. Requires any person who possesses a firearm in a residence where such person knows that a minor or a person who is prohibited by law from possessing a firearm is present to store such firearm and the ammunition for such firearm in a locked container, compartment, or cabinet that is inaccessible to such minor or prohibited person. The subcommittee recommends reporting on the vote for 6-4, and I will so move.
Second.
All right, it's moved and properly seconded that House Bill 871 report. Anyone wish to be heard on this bill? Seeing none, the clerk will open the roll. Members will cast their votes. The clerk will close the roll. This bill reports on a vote of 11-7.
And that completes my report.
Thank you, Delegate Clark. And Delegate Rasul is off somewhere for another committee meeting. I want to thank both my subcommittee chairs and subcommittee members. You guys did excellent work yesterday. There was very long meetings, but we had a good, thorough conversation. And we're well through our docket. So the rest of until crossover, we should be on a fairly good glide path going forward. And with that, Thank you for your time this morning. The committee will rise.